Grab your popcorn as we recap a movie about girls getting kidnapped and how their father tried their best to get the perpetrator. An RV drives around town passing by Keller Dover's truck. Keller and Grace are parents to Ralph and Anna Dover. They are headed to their neighbor's house for a gathering. Nancy and Franklin Birch are hosting a Thanksgiving feast. Joy, their daughter, decide to go outside with Anna, while Ralph and Eliza babysit the two. The two kids play on top of an RV and try to break the ice. They realize someone is in the RV, but the four of them walk away. Later, Anna wants to bring Joy to her house to grab her emergency red whistle. However, her parents say the whistle is long gone. The two girls leave the room to play. Later on in the party, Keller and Grace look for the two girls, but they are nowhere to be found. Keller goes to his house to check if they are over there, but he is unable to locate the two girls. The family starts to panic when they realize the girls haven't returned yet and it's raining. Ralph shows his dad the suspicious RV that was parked, but it is no longer there. At a diner, Detective Loki is eating alone on a Thanksgiving night. He gets a call about an RV that matches the same description to the missing girls case. Loki decides to respond to this call since he's nearby. He moves in on the RV along with other police officers. A man sits in his RV waiting for the police, but he decides to drive away, only to hit the tree and damage his RV. Loki goes into the RV and detains Alex Jones. He demands for the location of the girls, but Alex doesn't say a single word. Later, he questions Alex in a room about the girls. However, Alex denies ever seeing them. With his soft-spoken voice, he tells Loki that he was just out for a drive. He usually parks his RV at his aunt's house. So Loki goes to his Aunt Holly's house to inspect the property. Holly tells Loki that Alex has never been in trouble his entire life. Alex was taken in by her when Alex's parents died in an auto accident. Then Holly's husband, Alex's uncle, ended up leaving them one random day. Loki isn't able to find anything in their house. Meanwhile, the RV doesn't have any evidence indicating the girls were ever there. An entire crew, along with Keller and Franklin, even search the woods. The next day, Detective Loki meets the parents. Loki tells them that Alex Jones has an IQ of a 10-year-old even though he's a man. Keller wants Loki to keep Alex in custody indefinitely even though there's only a 48-hour hold. Loki goes door to door to sex offenders on his list but comes empty-handed. One guy on his list is a priest. He goes over to his house to find a hidden door behind a fridge. He goes through it to find a basement. Loki finds a corpse of someone tied to a chair. The corpse has an odd-looking necklace. Then, Loki threatens the priest to identify the dead man. However, the priest says the dead guy in the chair had confessed to killing 16 children, so the priest took it upon himself to kill the man. The priest has no idea what the man's name is. The next day, there's a wide search for the girls that include boats and everything. Meanwhile, Loki watches Alex having trouble writing his entire name when he's being discharged from his hold. Holly escorts Alex out of the building with a ton of reporters trying to interview him. Keller arrives angry. Keller decides to manhandle Alex and threatens him for answers. Police hold him back before things escalate some more. Apparently, Keller says Alex whispered that the girls didn't cry until he left them. Loki thinks Keller is making this up just so they can keep Alex in hold for longer. Loki decides to see Alex and Holly to see if Alex did indeed say something. However, Alex denies all of this. Loki goes outside the house with an old deserted black car outside. Meanwhile, Grace is grieving her daughter and doesn't understand why she hasn't come home yet. She thought that Keller would always protect them. Keller decides to leave and asks his son to take care of his mom while he goes out to help the police. Keller decides to watch Holly's house from afar. When Alex goes out to bring the dog out for a walk, Keller notices Alex randomly choking the dog by the leash. Keller decides to get his gun ready and follow Alex. He points the gun at him as Alex is singing a familiar song that Anna used to sing. On the next day, Keller picks up Franklin to show him something. They go to an abandoned building where Keller used to live. Keller opens the door and shows Franklin Alex tied up and duct taped in the abandoned bathroom. Keller justifies his actions because Alex was singing the song that Anna was singing. Franklin says they have to allow the police to do their job, but Keller disagrees. Eventually, Franklin agrees to help out. Keller questions Alex. Later, Loki does an investigation on the address where the RV was parked. A boy, Barry, had disappeared 26 years ago. He had disappeared in the same area that the RV was parked. Eventually, the priest who had the dead corpse finally gets questioned. The priest says the guy had taken the kids at daylight, sometimes more children at a time. Meanwhile, Keller has beaten Alex to a pulp while questioning him. Alex hasn't said anything about the girls. Eventually, Keller grabs a hammer while Franklin holds Alex. He threatens him with the hammer by hitting the sink, but Alex is tight-lipped. At a memorial for their daughters, Franklin breaks down. Loki is there and notices a strange individual, so he follows the guy. The strange guy starts to run away, so Loki runs after him. Loki ends up losing him though. The next day, a composite sketch of the individual is displayed on the news. This makes Franklin question if Alex is really the one involved with the kidnapping of his daughter. Loki then finds out that Alex has been missing for a day now. He starts to rewatch the interrogation of Alex to see if he may have missed anything. Later, a woman from a store says she recognizes the guy in the composite sketch. Apparently, the guy goes in the store to buy children's clothes, always in different size. At night, Franklin tells Nancy what he's been up to. She's upset at first, but Nancy wants to see Alex for herself. Nancy uncovers Alex and is shocked to see how swollen his face is. She begs him to help find her little girl. Nancy decides to untie Alex, hoping to get some answers. However, he tries to escape and breaks the bathroom glass window. He grabs a broken shard to hit Keller with it. However, Franklin and Keller are able to apprehend him again. Eventually, Keller makes a closet for Alex in the shower room. He tells them they can adjust the water temperature to torture some answers out of Alex. He even has a picture of their daughters right outside, so they're reminded of why they are doing it. Franklin feels this is going overboard. Keller gives him the hammer to destroy the apparatus and walks away. As Franklin is about to free Alex, Nancy tells him to stop, so Franklin does. Meanwhile, a hooded man enters the Birch residence with Eliza in the bathtub. The Birches arrive home. Nancy tells Franklin that they are not going to stop Keller from doing what he needs to do. Then, Nancy goes upstairs to look for her daughter, and Eliza is pissed she was left home alone. Meanwhile, the hooded man from the memorial continues to the Dover residence where Grace is lying in bed. She thinks Anna has come home. The hooded man escapes from a window, and Grace still thinks it was her daughter. Later, Loki has been watching Keller. Keller realizes he's being followed, so he confronts Loki about it. Loki says it's a bit suspicious that Alex is now missing when Keller had just assaulted Alex before that. Keller says to look for his daughter instead of following him. During Loki's investigation, he finds out that Keller's dad had unalived himself at their old apartment complex. While torturing Alex, Alex says he's not actually Alex. Keller doesn't understand what this means. Alex says he just wanted to play, and he never came back. Loki decides to go to the abandoned apartment complex where Keller's father had unalived himself. Keller realizes Loki's arrival, so Keller does his best to avoid suspicion by pretending to be a drunkard. Loki wonders if he'll find the girls here or Alex Jones. Loki asks for a tour of the place, so Keller gives him one. Before Loki can inspect the bathroom, he gets a phone call from the girl who recognized the man in the composite sketch. She gives Loki his plates. Loki then goes to the suspect's house. The guy's name is Bob. Loki wonders if the guy has children because Bob had bought children's clothes at the store. This spooks Bob, so he tries to run away. However, Loki is able to apprehend him and cuff him. Loki decides to look through the house. He finds a decapitated pig head in the kitchen sink, then finds a locked door with a bunch of black suitcases. There's nothing but bloody children's clothes and snakes in the boxes. Loki does find a weird manuscript in one of the boxes. At the precinct, Loki shows photographs of the clothes they found in the boxes. Nancy starts to sob uncontrollably. The couple leaves immediately after. Keller is next to look through the clothes. Apparently, Bob confessed to killing the girls, and the Birches positively identified some of the clothing. One of the photographs has a sock with a rabbit on it. Keller cries as he realizes that is a sock that Anna used to wear. Keller is then upset with Loki for following him and not preventing his daughter's death. Back at home, Ralph wonders if his sister is dead. However, Keller says Anna isn't dead. He promises to bring Anna home. However, Ralph yells at his dad for just going out to get drunk. Keller gets upset and grabs his son. This shocks Ralph to his core that his father would do this to him. In the interrogation room, Bob draws a maze on a piece of paper. Apparently, he hasn't said anything about where he may have buried the bodies. Loki is upset that Bob hasn't said anything, so he hurts Bob. A bunch of cops come in to apprehend Loki. However, Bob steals a gun from them and decides to unalive himself. Meanwhile, Alex finally tells Keller that he can find the girls in the maze. Keller wants more answers. Then he goes over to Holly's house to find any clues. Keller says he feels bad for Alex, so Holly allows Keller in the house. Holly and her husband used to be devout religious folks until their son died of cancer. Holly says Alex had an accident before, that's why he's a little slow. Back at the precinct, Loki is stumped looking at the maze drawing Bob had drawn. In his frustration, Loki notices that the necklace he had found on the dead man's chest matches the drawing. Eventually, it's revealed that Bob had buried 2 mannequin bodies at his house. All the clothes with the blood on it was just pig's blood, and all the clothes still had tags on them. Apparently Bob was abducted when he was young. Loki finally makes the connection that Bob had entered both the Birch residence and the Dover residence. He finds the same rabbit socks on the ground just outside the Dover's window. Later, it's revealed that they were able to find Joy, who is currently at the hospital. But Anna still hasn't returned. At the hospital, Keller starts to ask Joy a bunch of questions, but she doesn't respond since she's been drugged. Joy starts to remember what happened to her. There was a maze book, how she was running away. Then she recalls that Keller was there. This confuses everyone, but Keller starts to run away. Loki tries to follow him and he knows exactly where he's going. He goes to the abandoned apartment building where he starts to hear Alex screaming for help. However, Keller is back at Holly's house. He makes an excuse to be allowed in. He tells Holly that he knows the girls were here. Suddenly, Holly has a gun to his head. She commands him to put on handcuffs. Holly says to drink the spiked drink if he wants to see his daughter again, so he does. Holly escorts Keller outside. She admits that Alex was the first boy they kidnapped. His name used to be Barry. She also admits that she had kidnapped Bob as well. She and her husband used to kidnap a lot of kids, but she had to slow down when her husband disappeared. Eventually, Keller backs up the car and reveals an underground hole underneath it. Holly admits that the girls have been staying down there and Alex had nothing to do with it. Holly shoots him in the leg and forces him to get into the hole. She says she's going to dump Anna's body in there later. She then covers the hole back up with the car. Meanwhile, Detective Loki has an entire team helping out with Alex. He's told by the captain to go over to Holly and notify her of what has transpired. Down in the hole, Keller finds his daughter's red whistle that had been lost all this time. Later, Loki finally arrives at Holly's house. He finds a picture of Holly's husband and notices the necklace is the same as the dead man who supposedly killed 16 children. He starts to walk around the house while Holly drugs Anna some more. Loki sees this, but Holly doesn't go out with a fight. She grazes Loki with a bullet but gets shot dead. Loki rushes Anna to the emergency room. The next day, it is revealed that Alex, aka Barry, has finally been reunited with his real family. However, Keller is still missing. Grace had bought Anna a new red whistle. She admits that Keller hasn't contacted her yet. Loki says if they do find Keller, he would still end up in jail for the things he did to Alex. Later, at Holly's house, a crew is digging to excavate the property for bodies. They have to leave for the night because the ground is pretty much frozen solid. While alone, Loki starts to hear a faint whistle sound. Loki thinks he's hearing things, but he hears it again. The movie ends. Do you think Keller was saved? I'd like to think so.
Subscribe for more videos like this. Turn on notifications and leave a like. It really helps the channel.